She laughed. You're not on my level financially. I smiled, then leveled up without inviting her. I stopped explaining, cut extras, worked nights, doubled clients, and moved quietly. When she finally noticed, the doorbell rang for a delivery she didn't help pay for. My new keys. I'm the budget guy she joked about. For 9 months, I paid for coffee, movies, the gas to Fredericksburg for wine tastings I don't even like, concert tickets I queued for on my lunch break. I'm a junior sysadmin, $68K on paper, $2,987 take home after taxes and 401K. That's rent, utilities, car insurance, a slowly dying Honda Civic, and the emergency fund I keep in a plain white envelope labeled, "Do not touch." I track it all in a spreadsheet named house_2026.xlsx. Haley calls it my grandpa ledger and laughs. I used to laugh with her. Friday, 3:42 p.m. She texts a link with fireworks emojis. A new restaurant doing a $450 tasting menu. Drinks separate LOL. I do the math out loud at my desk. 2 seats plus wine pairings plus lift. North of $1,200 for a night that will be photographed more than remembered. I send back, doesn't fit the budget. Let's pick something simpler. Green bubble delivered. No reply. At 4:51 p.m., my phone buzzes with Instagram. Haley's stories, a TikTok repost. Budget guys are like cheap earbuds. They work, but you're embarrassed to show them. She added glitter text. Some of y'all needed this. I blink, keep scrolling, then see my handle tagged at the bottom in white, half hidden by a sparkle gif. I stare at it so long the screen times out. Saturday brunch, her friend group packs a long marble table under fake vines and Edison bulbs. I bring flowers, $12 tulips from H-E-B, trimmed, wrapped with twine. Haley kisses my cheek without looking and drops them into a water pitcher like an afterthought. When the server takes drink orders, she says, 2 mimosas and a side of manifestation. Laughter. I order black coffee. She tells a story about the tasting menu, how someone couldn't swing it. Nick is my minimum plan, she says, loud enough to carry. Stable connection, limited features. More laughter. A stabbing chorus of "You're bad." And stop. She leans over, stage whispering, "Babe, it's a joke." The woman across from me raises her phone, taps, and I feel the lens skim my face like a searchlight. My name pings in a tag again. I look at my watch, 11:19 a.m., and at the bill I know is coming. I think about the envelope. I think about the spreadsheet with the tab called down payment. I think about the box of cables under my desk, zip-tied and labeled, because tidy systems don't break in a crisis. I sip coffee and decide I'm done auditioning. When the check lands, I slide my card and pay the full amount before anyone can initiate the Venmo shuffle. Tip at 25%. The server's face softens. She says thanks in that relieved way people do when they've been braced for drama. I don't announce it. I don't perform. I just sign my name, print neat block letters, and place the pen parallel to the receipt. Outside, the heat climbs off South Congress hard enough to blur the parked cars. Haley grabs my arm for a selfie. Tongue out, peace sign, brunch with my minimum plan. Then pauses when I don't mirror the grin. Don't be weird, she says. It's content. I say, it's contempt. She blinks like I spoke static. At home, I set the tulips in a proper vase, snip the stems again, and wipe the counter dry. I open my laptop and pull up her post. Comments by evening. Level up first, then invite the queen. He's lucky to be seen with you. Knife emojis and champagne bottles. Some of the names are her clients. One is her boss. My handle glows under the caption like a stain. At 7:03 p.m., I draft a note in my phone. Boundary. No public disrespect. No money shaming. No tagging without consent. I read it out loud to the empty kitchen. The AC kicks on. I hear my upstairs neighbor's dog yip twice and settle. I delete the exclamation points, leave periods. Calm. Procedural. I text her, let's talk at 8. She replies instantly, heart. Sparkle. Bring your spreadsheet LOL. I put the envelope on the table, the vase beside it, the phone face down. At 7:59, I slide my Civic spare key off my ring and set it next to the envelope so it won't jangle when I'm speaking. When she walks in, she opens with a smile built for a camera. "Baby, about earlier. I'm not your minimum plan," I say. "I'm the only plan I'm responsible for. Starting now, no more public jokes about my wallet. No tags." She rolls her eyes. "If you're embarrassed, pay and we won't have this issue." I nod once, like checking a box, because that finally is an answer. I didn't argue. I opened my email, typed statement, and dragged 9 PDFs into a folder named Haley_9mo. 2 hours, 1 iced coffee, and a lot of Control-F later, I had a spend table. Column A date, B merchant, C category, D for 2. Checkboxes, E my card, F her reimbursement status, blank cells everywhere. Sushi on rainy, $128.40. ACL day passes, $398. Fredericksburg B&B, $289 plus gas. Spotify Duo, I upgraded. She never added her card. Paramount tickets, Uber XLs because heels. A coat from Nordstrom tagged, gift, line 147. Total, $7,180. I rounded nothing. I put the subtotal at the bottom in 12-point calibri and saved the sheet to drive/budget/receipts. I took one clear screenshot. Header, some 9 months. No captions. No emojis. At 9:31 p.m., I sent a Venmo request to Haley for $3,590. Her half memo, 9 months dates/trips, your half. Thanks for reminding me about my level. I toggled it to public. Not to humiliate her. To stop the rewrite before it started. I set the phone face down and washed the tulip face. The ring began. Haley, 12 times in 6 minutes. Then unknown numbers. Then her best friend with a voice note. "Take that request down. You're creating toxic drama and it's financially abusive." I hit play once, twice, and saved it. Another friend. "Nick, be a man. Private matters are private." I replied. "Then stop tagging me." Delivered. Venmo comments stacked like receipts at a register that won't stop printing. My buddy Aaron. "This man keeps books." A stranger. "Not a minimum plan. The only payer." Someone added a chef emoji. Someone else wrote, "Interest compounding since brunch." I didn't type back. I just watched my own spine reappear. 10:14 pounding at my door. I checked the peephole. Haley, in the camel coat I bought in January. Eyes bright with fury and mascara. "Open up," she said through the door. "You're scaring me with this economic abuse." I kept my voice level. "You're not on my lease. It's late. We can talk tomorrow at a cafe." She rattled the handle. "Oh, boundaries? Cute word." A door opened across the hall. Mrs. Alvarez, retired math teacher, tiny and iron-backed. "He said no," she called. "Try tomorrow." Haley spun, barked something about women taking women's sides, and stomped out. The hallway smelled like her perfume for an hour. At 10:52, Haley posted a Notes app story. "A woman is the prize. I styled him, taught him wine, decorated his place. Don't nickel and dime me." The slide after it was a mirror selfie in my bathroom. "My towels, my plant." Captioned lesson. "Never build with a taker." I screenshotted both and filed them. Evidence/smear_01. By midnight, Twitter had the Venmo screenshot, not from me. Someone circled the memo and wrote, "Men are done funding audition seasons." Her replies filled with crown emojis, then question marks, then silence. My phone shook on the counter like it was in a paint mixer. I powered it off, put it in the bread box, and went to bed. Morning, 7:08 a.m. I brewed coffee and turned the phone on. A single text from Haley. "You owe me for my labor. I increased your social value." I replied with a screenshot of my spend table and a calm line. "If you want to calculate intangible contributions, we do it after you settle tangible debts. $3,590 due by Friday." Read receipt popped. No bubbles. At 9:20, my manager pinged me on Slack. "Everything okay? Saw something online." I sent a short message. Personal boundaries post-breakup. No company mentions. Sorry for noise. He reacted with a thumbs up and the silence of a man who would like his tickets patched and his team drama-free. I logged a ticket, closed 3 others, breathed. By lunch, Haley's friends had a group text going that included me by mistake. He's making her unsafe, one typed. Another, we should leave reviews on his work. I replied into their chat. Targeting employment is harassment. Please stop. A screenshot of an HR policy lives in my downloads. I attached it. The chat went quiet. A new one spun up without me. At 2:03, Venmo showed viewed. At 2:17, she countered with $250 and a lock emoji. I declined. Balance unchanged. She sent another $250 with final. Declined again. I added a note to the request. Line items available on request. Due Friday EOD. I wasn't going to haggle like this was Facebook Marketplace. At 4:40, another knock softer. It was Aaron with tacos. He set them down, nodded at the envelope on my table. You good? I said yes, which was true in a new, shaky way. He pointed at the Civic key glint. You keeping that off? I nodded. Until people stop treating my wallet like a stage prop. That night, I muted her on every platform and turned off comments on my own posts. I wasn't hiding. I was refusing to feed the thing. When the next call came, from a number labeled, Mom of Bride, I let it ring out and added it to the folder, call_log/escalations. Boundaries, like backups, only work if you test them. I didn't want a screaming match or another midnight hallway scene. At 8:12 a.m., I posted one image to my feed. A redacted screenshot of her agency site, 3 client logos total in the last year. Next to her LinkedIn headline, freelance brand strategist, scaling 6 and 7-figure creators. Caption, math check, $9,000 wardrobe spend in 2024, $0 toward rent since January. Numbers beat vibes. I turned off comments. That wasn't a clapback. It was a ledger entry in public. By 8:30, the group chats were molten. Someone from the brunch table, Evan, the one who said stop between laughs, posted a 13-second clip. You can hear her voice clean as a bell over silverware. Nick is my minimum plan. Stable connection. Limited features. Laughter pops like grease. My face isn't in it, just a wrist and a coffee mug. It didn't matter. The sentence carried its own weight. At 9:02, she'd med. Delete that. You're weaponizing information to harm my business. I replied, it's 2 public pages side by side. Remove your tags of me. I'll remove mine. She sent back a paragraph on emotional labor, how she styled me, upgraded my vibe, handled all the social optics. I answered with a bullet list. Haircuts. I paid. Wardrobe. I paid. See Nordstrom 1/13. Apartment decor. I paid. CB2 receipt 3:20 seconds. Electrics install. I did the work. Wine education. That was me Googling tannins at 1 a.m. Read. No response. At 10:17, her Notes app statement arrived. Public humiliation is trauma. Women are targets when they set standards. My labor was uncompensated. The replies under it weren't the chorus she expected. And the $7,180? Someone wrote. Uncompensated too? Another. If a man posted how to make her pay, you'd call it predatory. Screenshots of an old video from her account resurfaced. She's laughing in a blazer, ring light reflecting in her eyes. How to make him pay. Forget your wallet. Hint subtly. Praise his choices after he orders. The comment under that was a single calculator emoji. I didn't push. I archived my own post, took a breath, and sent her a clean PDF. Itemized _9mo_her_half PDF. Subject line. Formal request. Due Friday 5 p.m. No threats. No adjectives. My therapist's voice from 2 jobs ago. Keep your nouns and verbs. Delete your adverbs. At lunch, Reddit discovered the Venmo memo and fought itself for 4 hours. Top comment. A relationship invoice is either cruelty or clarity. Depends on whether there was consent to be used. Second, this is what happens when budgets meet brand building. I closed the tab. The internet can litigate morality. I have rent due on the 1st and tickets to close by end of day. 2:41 p.m. My phone buzzed with a client of hers. Actually, technically not a client. She'd done 2 carousel posts for their boutique last spring for product trade. Is this about us? They wrote. I replied, no names. Please remove images featuring me from your feed. They did quietly. A DM followed. We paid her in store credit. Thought you knew. I didn't. I screenshotted and filed it. Evidence/comp_001. At 4:05, her mother called from a withheld number. Young man, you have humiliated our daughter. She poured herself into you. I kept my voice even. Ma'am, I asked for privacy and repayment. She said, a woman is the prize. I said, then the prize should be self-funding. She gasped like I'd sworn and hung up. That evening, I did the messy tasks people skip. I changed the Wi-Fi password. She'd given it to collab friends. I removed her Face ID from my iPad. I exported a CSV of shared subscriptions and toggled off household on my streaming services. I added a line to the spreadsheet for time. 2 hours here, 20 minutes there. When you track it, you see what you bleed. At 7:33, she posted a carousel of coercive control infographics. The comments weren't buying. Financial boundaries aren't control, a woman wrote. They're adulthood. Another linked the brunch clip. Evan DM'd me. Didn't think it would blow up. Sorry. I said, you didn't make her say it. He double-tapped the message and left it there. By 9 o'clock, neutral friends started texting privately. We love you both, but the optics are bad. I replied with a single sentence each time. I won't be mocked in public and bankrolled in private. Tiny silence dots blinked and disappeared. The chorus got quieter. The math kept talking. At 11:11, she sent $310 with a sparkle. Good faith. I declined. Balance unchanged. See PDF. She followed with voice notes muffled by tears and the foley of a ring light clicking off. I didn't press play. I saved them to call_log and turned the phone screen down beside the tulips. Now opened fully, petals clean and unperforming under the kitchen light. Rachel cracked it open at 8:06 a.m. with a DM that didn't waste ink. She hasn't paid rent for 2 months. Owes us $2,900, but has a new purse. Screenshot attached, lease ledger with her initials, 2 red past due stamps, and a selfie from last night's unboxing. A cream bag with gold hardware, $1,395 retail if you know the brand. I asked permission to quote. Rachel said yes, then posted it to her story with her face on camera. I'm not covering Haley's lifestyle anymore. Within minutes, our mutuals started messaging variations of oh. At 9:22, a number I didn't recognize texted, it's Tom, the ex she never named, just called the jealous one. He wrote, she did the same to me for a year and a half. When I said no to a $4,500 trip to Tulum, I became abusive. He sent screenshots with timestamps. Weekly forgetting her wallet, strategic compliments after he ordered the second bottle, a birthday hint board of restaurants ranked by price. The last image was a group chat header I'd never seen. Secure the swipe. 11 women. Pastel icons. Rules pinned. Tom scrolled and screen recorded. He's whining about pricey places. Keep him 1 more month and find a new one. Don't leave money on the table. Men are replaceable, style is not. If he brings up budget, frame it as safety and standards. I watched in a quiet, widening way. It wasn't just a bad joke at brunch. It was a system with referral traffic. I asked Tom if I could post redacted snippets. He didn't flinch. Blur names, he said. I'm not trying to dox anyone. I opened Pixelmator, smeared blocks over avatars, cropped timestamps but left the dates. 03/12, 04/28, 06/09. I added a thin black border, exported at 1080 by 1350, and uploaded 3 slides with a caption that read like a lab label. Context. Group chat strategies mirrored in my receipts. I disabled comments again. The internet doesn't need more heat. It needs light. 10 minutes later, unfollows began in clumps from her circle. The same accounts that crowned her 24 hours ago. Rachel commented under her own post, "Now it's clear why the rent debt." A boutique owner I recognized from mutuals replied, "We comped 2 shoots for exposure. Never again." Another woman wrote, "I'm in that chat and I'm ashamed." She deleted it 2 minutes later, but not before someone grabbed it. By lunch, 2 members of Secure the Swipe had lost side gigs. One at a vintage resale shop, one doing social for a Pilates studio. After their bosses saw them advising, "Optimize the spend." I didn't celebrate. Collateral damage isn't a boundary. It's fallout. I texted Rachel, "I'm sorry you got dragged into this." She replied, "I dragged myself in when I signed a lease with someone who treats invoices like insults." Haley locked everything. Instagram, TikTok, even LinkedIn went gray, and posted a final story to close the door. "This is harassment. Private female spaces are being violated." The replies, before the lock, were a thud of one-line math. $2, $900 rent? $7, 180 dates? Who paid? She switched to close friends mode. Screenshots still leaked. Green circles don't stop screen capture. At 2:37, I received a cease and desist template from a Gmail with her first name and legal in it. No letterhead, just bold words, defamation, business interference, cease publication. I forwarded it to my cousin who finished law school last year. She wrote back one sentence, "Truth is a defense. Don't embellish." I replied, "Understood," and kept my posts exactly as they were. Documents, dates, amounts. At 4:01, the brunch clip hit TikTok proper via a guy who films restaurant interiors. He stitched her minimum plan audio over slow pans of a $28 avocado toast and a hand-pouring mimosa. The caption, "When standards means someone else's visa." Comments ran feral, then tired, then oddly practical. People shared scripts for splitting checks without drama. Someone linked a budgeting template. The culture was exhausting itself into spreadsheets. I spent the evening doing the boring, necessary things. I exported my Venmo history to CSV. I wrote a plain text summary of the last 6 days with times and attachments. I bought Rachel a digital grocery card for $100 with a note. For the Gap, no repayment. She sent back a crying emoji and, "I'll cover it when she pays." I didn't argue. I logged it as gift neighborly, not debt. At 9:48, Haley texted from a new number, "You ruined my life for clout." I replied, "I protected mine with facts." 3 dots blinked a long time, then vanished. I put the phone face down again, watered the tulips, and looked at the envelope labeled "Do Not Touch." Still there, still thick, still mine. Boundaries aren't revenge. They're the lock on a door you're finally willing to use. HR pinged me first. Subject line, external social media mention. We screen shared. I walked through my posts. Redactions, receipts, no company tags, no uniforms, no client overlap. He scrolled silently, then said, "Keep it off work. No policy violated." I nodded. He added, "Take a day if you need." I didn't. I closed my tickets, shipped a patch, and ate my sandwich over a terminal window like a normal Wednesday. That afternoon, the lawyer arrived via Gmail. 3 paragraphs of bark. No letterhead, no signature block, not even a state bar number. Demands, delete the Venmo request, pay $4,000 for emotional damages, issue a public apology acknowledging harm to brand. I forwarded it to my cousin. She called laughing. "It's a vibes letter," she said. "Truth is a defense. Opinion is protected. Also, damages aren't a memo line." We drafted a reply that wasn't a reply. None. I filed the email in evidence/attempts and went back to work. My upgrade plan wasn't a speech. It was a checklist. I canceled the fun line items. Boutique coffee subscription, concert alerts, the let's just Uber reflex. I took a 2-week night shift doing server hardening for a startup that pays in bank wires. not gratitude. I bumped my freelance roster from 2 clients to 5. Simple jobs, boring copy, clean invoices at net 7. I wrote a single sticky note on my monitor. No is a complete sentence. Every time my phone buzzed with someone else's emergency, I tested it. Money moved. I watched my high-yield account tick up like a loading bar. I added a category to the spreadsheet called Quiet Level Up. $200 in cert exam fees, $49 for a Linux training bundle, $16 for a thrifted dress shirt that actually fits. I moved my emergency envelope to a small fireproof safe and labeled it with the date and amount. Dull habits. Sharp edges. Haley kept filming. Tearful front camera uploads about a cruel world that punishes standards. Stitched with sad music and diffused lighting. The words changed. The math didn't. Under one video, someone commented, "Who paid the rent?" Under another, "Is $7,180 trauma or a tab?" She disabled comments, then hid likes. It didn't slow the screenshots. My Venmo request sat there like a pinned memo on the internet's corkboard. People kept tapping the heart. Other couples began using the memo box like a diary. April groceries split. He covers daycare. I cover car note. We forgot to talk about money for 6 years, starting now. A meme spun out. Unpaid emotional invoices. Photoshopped with glitter fonts and calculators. I didn't share any of it. I just watched culture move from crown emojis to CSVs. The Gmail lawyer tried again with a second email citing coercive control statutes and reputational tort. My cousin highlighted the errors in yellow like a teacher. Wrong statute, she said. No jurisdiction named. Also Gmail. I asked if I should send a formal response. The response is silence and good records, she said. If they get a real attorney, you'll know. I printed the emails and paperclipped them anyway. Work noticed in the good way. My manager DM'd, "Your patch notes are clean. Want to take point on the Q4 upgrade?" I said yes and blocked off 2 Saturdays for maintenance windows. I don't broadcast hustle. I calendar it. I set a 6 a.m. alarm, brewed supermarket coffee, and got quietly better at the boring things that pay rent. At night I ran 3 miles along the river trail with a cheap headlamp and a playlist that doesn't know about brunch. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and left it there. The tulips finally wilted. I trimmed the stems and let them go without a post. Friday came. No payment. I sent a final reminder at 4:30 p.m. Balance $3,590. I'll pursue small claims Monday. Read. No reply. I didn't threaten. I calendared. I screenshotted the message and added it to the timeline with a green check. The next morning, I cleaned my apartment like I was moving into it for the first time. I boxed the coat hanger she left, wiped the mirror she filmed in, patched a pinhole from her neon sign. I stood in the middle of the living room and took a breath that didn't ask permission. I wasn't a minimum plan. I was an adult with a budget and a rising line on a graph. The internet kept inventing me as a symbol. I kept being a person. Payments cleared, code shipped, laundry folded. Boundaries turned out to be cheaper than brunch and more filling. And when another Gmail landed at 11:02 p.m., subject, final warning, I powered down, locked my door, and slept like someone whose level doesn't need an audience. A month out from the storm, the doorbell rang at 9:07 a.m. I padded over in socks, opened to a courier with a small padded envelope and a clipboard. Return address, the property manager on South First. Inside, a brass fob, 2 cut keys, a parking tag, and a folded letter. Welcome, Nicholas. Unit 12. Lease start. The first. I turned the fob in my palm like a coin I'd finally earned. The townhouse smelled like new paint and quiet when I first saw it. White walls. A small balcony facing a pecan tree. A hallway closet wide enough for a server rack I'll never buy. I'd signed after 2 night shifts and a string of punctually paid invoices. The math put me just inside the line where a grown man doesn't flinch at keys. I set the envelope beside my fireproof safe and took a photo of the contents for the folder labeled home_2026/lease. Utilities were already queued. Austin Energy account number scrawled on a post-it, Wi-Fi scheduled for Tuesday, Water in my name with a $150 deposit. I'd spent the last weekend patching holes at the old place, spackling the pinprick her neon sign left, vacuuming the glitter I kept finding like confetti from a party I never attended. At 9:19, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number that wasn't unknown. You ruined my life over money. You're not bringing anyone up to your level, Haley wrote. No hello. No grace note. I watched the dots appear, vanish, return. I typed, I leveled up. No invitations. I deleted an extra period, sent it, and turned the phone face down on the counter. The bell rang again at 9:24. Another package, a white box with a teal ribbon and a card from my freelance platform manager. 100% on-time work. Q3 bonus unlocked. Keep going. Inside was a metal notebook, a neat pen, and a gift card with an amount that covered the security deposit on the new place's washer hookup. Small numbers add up if you let them. I drove to the townhouse with a trunk full of a life edited by boundary. One suitcase, the safe, 2 banker boxes of cables and drives, the tulip vase washed and dry. I carried the first box up the stairs and felt the elastic quiet of a space that had never heard my name said like a punchline. I set the safe in the bedroom closet and spun the dial to the new combination. Written once on paper, then memorized, then the paper torn and trashed. I changed the locks like the lease allowed. $89 spent at the hardware store, 30 minutes with a screwdriver. 1 test each door. Click. Done. By noon I'd assembled a thrifted table with an Allen key and no YouTube video. I set the work laptop down, taped the Wi-Fi password to the underside for future me, and stuck my sticky note to the monitor. No is a complete sentence. Then I brewed grocery store coffee on the stove because the machine was still in a box, and I wrote the day's list like a deployment plan. Change USPS address, move renter's policy, confirm Saturday maintenance window, run 3 miles before night shift. The phone lit up at 12:32 with a banner. Your request to Haley for $3,590 is still pending. I let the screen go dark. Some balances clear with time, others with a judge, most with acceptance that you can't close every ticket you didn't open. My plan hadn't changed since the envelope. Records, small claims if needed, no speeches. At 6:10 p.m., I locked the new door, slipped the brass fob into my pocket, and headed to the data center for the night gig. I drove past the brunch street. Edison bulbs flickering under the heat, a patio full of people performing hunger and happiness for phones, and didn't look long enough to feel anything but distance. The Civic's AC hummed, the console clock ticked, and I caught my face in the rearview. Not triumphant, not bitter, just centered. When I parked, I texted the property manager a thank you for the fast keys and sent Rachel a photo of the balcony at sunset. Pecan leaves against a pale sky. Proud of you, she wrote. Rent paid. I asked. Yep. Lesson learned. I wished her a boring year. Inside the server room, I badged in and set down the keys beside a coil of fiber and my Fluke multimeter. Fans roared steady like surf. I logged in, ran the checklist, watched the status bars go green. I was there to keep systems from crashing, not to prove anything. New boundaries, new habits, new home. The old humiliation stayed where it belongs, archived, redacted, quiet. My feed is private now. My door finally is not.